our Circle of Influence podcast. I am your co-host, Dr. Monica Ogando.
And I'm Amy Walker.
Insert applause, darling. Today we're talking about love as a business strategy, which for those of you who are cynics out there in Circle of Influence land, it sounds like pimping ain't easy. To say love as a business strategy, whatever do you mean? So
Right.
we're going to talk about this but I need you to put your cynicism hat away in order for all of this to make sense, right, Amy?
Yes. And we are not talking about starting businesses as professional huggers, because that's a real thing and it may be very loving, but
No
we're
shade
talking
to the
about,
sex workers.
we're talking about love that extends through any type of business, and using this as a leadership principle, as a sales principle in your marketing, in your core values, the way that you do things. I feel like we have gone through some waves in business. Even when I just look at my journey as an entrepreneur, which I think, let's see, I started my first business when I was 22 and I'm 43. So 21 years in business. When I first started in business, I feel like there was this relationship-based focus. And then we went very like, ooh, now we got online business. Now we've got digital marketing. Now we've got automations. Let's see how we can never have to talk to people, but make it seem like we're talking to people and we care about them. But then we went through this phase where it's like, we all kind of intuitively know that when there's no connection, it doesn't matter how good your copy is. Like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling like that trust, that sense of importance as a customer. And so it didn't really matter who I did business with. And then I feel like we went through the pandemic where we were like, I'm so tired of all this falseness, and what I really want is real connection. And so I think there's never been a better time to really look at love as a business principle and how you can sprinkle it throughout all the areas of your business.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And this harkens me back to something that I have said before, maybe in our private conversations, maybe not in the podcast, but I have said before that science is spirituality's younger, more obnoxious little sister. And by the time that science catches up on stuff, spirituality is like, we've been on this. We already knew this. Like, welcome to the show. And so I think that, to your point, business has gone through this full evolution cycle where it started out as a very feminine structure of commerce, of relationship, of reciprocity. And then it moved into numbers and data and transactions and, gotta get it done, and productivity and capitalism and blah, blah, blah. And then disaster happens and we come back to, just like James Clear says in Atomic Habits, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And then we fall back down to like, okay, hold on, let's get back to basics. And here we are again talking about love, but still with the kind of like post-traumatic stress syndrome of transactional business. So then it's like, so that's why the cynicism exists, because then it's like, wait a minute, now you're using love as a strategy to say, and right. So that's where we begin. However, to your point, Amy, there's a lot of resistance and negative connotations about business that you can transcend with love, just like with any other relationship, right? Like, I'm thinking of sometimes of my motherhood journey with my bonus son in particular. There were many times when I was like, I'll never stop loving you, but I don't like you very much right now.
It's not just because he's bonus, it's that you feel that way about all teenage boys at some point.
All teenage boys, yeah.
I can attest.
Yeah. And so love can be the salve that eases those transitions when you're pivoting your brand, when you are putting a new product or service out there and you're not sure about how it's going to land with the market, when you are going for a loan, when you're going for, there are certain things that you're like, I don't want to do this is uncomfortable, I don't know that I'm gonna, if I fail, blah blah blah, but love will take you through. And part of that is getting back to, as Simon Sinek is fond of saying, starting with your why. Why do you want to put this message out in the world? Why do you want to serve these people? Why do you think it's important that they get that service or that product or this, connection from you? And why at this price? What makes it so that it not only feeds your family and creates your legacy of wealth, but also puts their, butt on a line, as it were? Because I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, if I pay a lot of money for something, I will pay attention.
Yeah,
I
I'll do it.
will take it seriously. If I'm just, throwing out dollars that don't matter to me, I'm like, I'll get to it when I can. And I don't value it as much, even if it may be that more valuable. And so how do we use love as a business strategy? My first recommendation would be to start with your why, as to why you started to get into this business to begin with. I think sometimes people think business and passion are synonymous, and they don't have to be. Ask any funeral director. That's not what they're passionate. They're not passionate about dead people, but
they are passionate about supporting people in their darkest times, right? And they are incredibly loving as they go through that process. Like the people that helped and supported when my sister lost her son, like they were some of the most loving, kind, and compassionate people. And she continued to buy flowers every year for her son's birthday until that flower shop went out of business. And then she was like, I have to, and they knew, like, she, she'd come in and like, they knew her, they remembered her, they knew what the flower order was, because every year she got a different variation of the flowers she had used at his funeral. And so there is that principle in customer service of, how are you really showing your customers that this is more than a transaction, that you actually care?
Yes.
So when she went to the new flower shop the first year after they had closed, it was an emotional day. And she went in there and asked for the order that she'd always had. And they're like, oh, we don't do that. And she just started crying. And the owner came out and really talked with her and was like, what can we do? How can we make this work? And so now she's got a new place. And even though it was a hard day and it was a challenging experience, she will be loyal to them because they showed that love to her.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's easy to see it in that space, that if we love our customers and truly take care of them, they keep coming back. But I want to look at the flip side of this, which is that love does not always equal niceness. So when I look at how I raise my children, I love and I adore my children, but I am not like, do whatever the heck you want, like, yeah, you want that? Great. No, I'm like, this is the way it's going to be. These are our standards, and moving up to our standards is the way that I show you love, because I am teaching you how to be a successful person. You need to be able to thrive in this life. That same principle of love applies to our team members and to our clients. And so there is, and Monica, you're so good at this when you're coaching our clients, that tough love. Like, I love you enough to tell you you're being ridiculous right now and you got to jump out of this, right? Because leaving people in a place of challenge or in a place of rut does not mean that we are showing love to them. And I think sometimes we bend to the point where we feel like we're breaking in the business because our team members are walking all over us. Our clients are walking all over us. We have scope creep going on everywhere. And all of a sudden we're like, I feel like I am drowning in this business, but I keep putting on a smile for everybody else. That's not showing love for them. It's not showing love for you. So one of my past clients, Dino Watt, who's phenomenal entrepreneur, and he works on team cultures. His saying that I have grabbed, and I'm like, I will forever hold this in my brain, is, when someone is not a fit on your team, you get to love them into a different position where they will be happy. And I'm like, yes, because that is loving. Letting someone stay on your team that you're not happy with, they're not going to be happy. Everyone around them is unhappy because it's not a fit. That's not creating a loving environment. That's creating an environment for disgruntlement, for lack of job satisfaction. And it really doesn't feel good to be in a position where you are not succeeding. So allowing people to be able to see that this is not a fit and giving them space to go find something else. I believe that most people, not everyone, but most people can be really successful given the right context. And if you're not the right context for your customers or for your clients, the most loving thing you can do is actually let them go. and
Yeah.
let them find a good fit for them.
That's awesome. I like what you're saying here, because part of that is also love is an action verb, not a feeling. Part of that whole theme is also love for the process of just running a business, right? So it's kind of like having children, in that you love these little suckers and you just want the best for them. Lord have mercy. You know, you just reconstitute yourself and pivot and do 1,000 different things in order to make them win, right? Or help them to win. And it requires changing diapers, and it requires getting up in the middle of the night, and it requires cleaning up vomit, and it requires, managing temper tantrums, and it requires, getting out in the rain and having accidents in the kitchen, and somebody took the car for a joyride, and and so it's the same thing with our businesses, that it's like, golly, here we go with this CRM issue again, and SEO is not working, and the podcast this and that other, and the video doesn't render, and the blah, blah, blah. And we have to be able to at least enjoy or fall in love with, or appreciate, if not fall in love with, but appreciate the process itself. Not just, I'm going to be happy when I get to the destination, because then the process itself is going to be a dreadful journey,
Yeah. And I love this parenting example too, because I don't love cleaning up vomit. I love my children enough that I am willing to clean up their vomit until they are old enough to clean up their own. And I'm like, it came out of your mouth.
Hallelujah.
Cleaned up by your hand. And I feel that same way about my business. And sometimes I see entrepreneurs where there's pieces of their business that they're not good at and they don't like.
Yeah.
And so they just don't do them. And I'm like, if you continue on that path, you will never have enough money to pay someone else to do that.
Right.
You got to get in there and clean up the barf until your business has grown up to that point where now it can pay for somebody else to clean it up for you.
Yeah.
So all things in my business, I am willing to do. I'm not good at all things in my business. Not all things in my business are the best use of my time. But from the beginning, I have been willing to do whatever it takes, because I love this company. I love what we provide for our clients. I love getting to serve. There's so many pieces of it that are amazing that I love it enough to do the parts that aren't. So I would love for our listeners to just kind of do a little snapshot of their business. Here's our listener challenge for the week. Number one, look at your why. Is there love mixed into that? Number two, look at your customer service processes. How are you showing your clients that you love them? Number three, I would go through your marketing and your sales and look at, is it authentic? Even if you're using automation, this is the way I always look at it. If I could send the message personally to every person, what would I say if I called them one at a time? And then make that message and use automation to push it out. But make sure everything you send out really is authentic. And then the next level is to really look at your leadership and your team and figure out, are you loving your people enough to create high standards and to deliver things with respect and with kindness and create a really wonderful environment? So just kind of do a little love check. Give yourself some hearts.
Show that.
Winning. Yeah. See where you're winning. See where you have room for improvement.
I love that. Yes. And then tell the truth about the things that you don't love, right? Because I think sometimes we get so caught up on, like, I should be doing this, or I should appreciate that, etc. It's like, sometimes we don't. I'm fond of saying, when the math makes sense, the magic can appear, meaning handle the data first, right? But ask me if I like looking at data. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't love it. However, I know it's very necessary. And so when we can be truthful about that, then we can see where we can add people to our team, or reposition others that where they can better use their gifts and so forth. Right?
Yes. Awesome. Well, my friends, thank you so much for listening today and joining us on our Your Circle of Influence podcast. We love hearing from you. So please subscribe and make sure that you follow us. I am at Amy Walker Coach on Instagram. Monica is at Monica Ogando. And we love hearing from you. So please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And we can't wait to have you back again next time.
Thank you so much, everybody. See you next time.